Lei che sto abbracciando è Regina Sluszny, è una dei seimila bambini e bambine ebree che in Belgio scamparono alla Shoah grazie a una straordinaria rete clandestina di famiglie non ebree che scelsero di dare rifugio agli innocenti. Lei l'ho intervistata in inglese, ma prima le ho chiesto di chiudere gli occhi e dirmi la prima cosa che le veniva in mente.
Why does they need to make war? You will have on both sides a lot of dead people, and nothing good can come out of war. It's the same in Israel and Gaza. You can live with everybody. It doesn't mean that if you are Christian or Muslim or non-believer or Jewish, that you are different. It's the person you see before you. For me, nothing good can come out of wars. Nowhere. All the people who die is one person too much.
And now let's take a step back. When are you born?
I was born in September 1939.
It wasn't a good date to be born.
It wasn't the best time to be born. No, certainly not. Because in 1940, the Germans came to Belgium where I was living with my parents and my two brothers.
What was the general situation for Jewish people?
Hitler, who wanted all the Jews to disappear from the earth. So he made laws, and he started off by sending letter that you have to go to the town hall and put your name in a file. In that file you had to write your name, the name of your children, your address, and they would put a stamp with a David star on. And on that moment you got a little piece of cloth in the form of a David star, which you had to put on your coat or dress, depends if it was winter or summer, to go outside in the street so that the Germans could recognize you very easily.
Dal comune consegnarono una copia dell'archivio contenente tutti i nomi delle persone ebree ai soldati tedeschi e quello fu l'inizio della razzia.
Razzia was putting a car in the front of the street and the other end of the street. And then they went from one apartment to the other and they knew exactly how many people they had to take out of the apartment.
Ed è ora che per la prima volta provano a fuggire, scappando da Antwerp in Belgio dove vivevano fino in Inghilterra.
From Belgium to England you can go with a boat. When we arrived there, the last boat to go to England was gone in the evening and we had to sleep in a house who was damaged by the war, and in the morning there was no more boats going to England because the Germans had arrived on the seaside.
I think this story is similar to that of immigration today fleeing their country to reach Europe. I think of the immigrants who arrive in Italy by boat. What do you think?
Well, if you see nowadays the people who want to save themselves from other countries, who come to Italy, to Belgium, to France. First of all, you have the good people, they will save them. But you also have the bad people, just like those who gave us the Jewish people to the Germans for money. You have the same people nowadays.
Torniamo al racconto. Quando i nazisti deportano gli ebrei dal Belgio con i treni, loro pensavano davvero di andare a lavorare.
They really thought, the Jewish people thought that they were going to work. Really work, not that it was a camp where they killed people. It's only 2 years after that they realized that people were killed. So they started to make an organization to save the children. In Belgium, there was about between 5,000 and 6,000 children saved. They went to the families and they said to the Jewish families, "Give me your children. When you come back from work, we will give you back the children."
You were one of these hidden children.
I was 2.5 years when we realized that if we don't go out, the Germans were going to come and pick us up to send us away to Auschwitz.
What was Auschwitz?
The Jewish people went to the extermination camp, which meant that there was a selection. When they arrived, there was an officer standing with one thumb, and your life was only worth one thumb. Going to the right, work for the Germans, and putting your thumb to the left side, it meant it was the ladies with the babies and the old people and the sick people. They could go on a truck, and the truck would take them to the chamber where they put the gas in. And they would kill right away when they arrived the same day.
La famiglia di Regina però non viene deportata ad Auschwitz perché riesce a trovare rifugio presso una famiglia non ebrea. Anna e Charles erano una coppia e li nascondono. Anna and Charles.
Anna and Charles. They were wonderful people. They had no children, and Anna had 2 cats. And when she made food at lunchtime for herself and her husband, she made the same food for her cats, but that were her babies. Now, one day, we didn't have enough food. I went through the hall, and I wanted to take away the food from the cats. I didn't realize that Anna was standing behind the curtain in her house, and she saw me. And lucky for me, she understood right away that if a child from 2.5 years wants to take the food from the cats, it's because she's hungry. And she came out and she gave me from that day on food for my parents and for me and for my brothers.
And what happened?
Well, we thought that we were safe, but apparently somebody must have realized that there was people living in the cafe house. Went to the soldiers and told them, I know where there are Jews, because for every person you gave them, you get money.
I soldati andarono a prenderli, ma Charles, che faceva parte della resistenza belga, venne a saperlo 10 minuti prima. Si precipitò dalla famiglia di Regina e disse loro di scappare subito. E fu in quel momento che, guardando Regina, 2 anni e mezzo, bionda, confondibile perciò con qualsiasi altro bambino belga non ebreo, fece una proposta ai genitori di lei.
If you want, you can leave the little one with me. If you find a place where you feel secure, you come and pick her up. And my parents, they just left me.
And where did your parents go?
They didn't know where they were going. They just went. They went in 3 years' time to 15 different places.
E in ognuno di questi nascondigli per 3 anni fu Charles a portare ai genitori e ai fratelli di Regina il cibo necessario.
Because he knew that without the food they won't live. And when he came back, he told me, your mom sent you kisses and your dad says, I love you. I don't think that I knew exactly that they were alive, but I must have realized in myself.
Can I say that you had 4 parents?
Yes, I lived all my life with 4 parents, 2 pair of parents. For me, Anna and Charles was just like my own parents. I loved them both the same. Normally, when people have parents and one day they die, you have 2 parents that you have to bury. Well, because of having 2 pair of parents, I had to bury 4 people, who was very hard. When I go and visit them every year, I take flowers for Anna and Charles, but I also take little stones, because in Jewish faith you don't put flowers, you take stones, because you come from the earth and you go back to the earth. So I behave with them as would they be my real parents.
Your husband was also a hidden child.
My husband lost all his family. For him it was very difficult to think about what happened to him. So he could not speak about this story. But I know the story of my husband because every night he had nightmares and he would tell whatever happened to him. All his life he hated the German people because of what happened to him.
Do you have a sentence that you always carry with you?
And my motto, my mantra is, if you forget what happened, you have no future. If you have no memory, there is no future.